here is the new link to the new app. Mikey, do you want to say something about this or share it?
And so this is sort of a temporary link, but we'll be sure that everyone gets access to the permanent one, but all the functionality and everything is there. And I'm really excited to, and I know Karen is as well, to share it with everyone.
Okay, so you may already be starting. Some of you know about this Buddha board. How many people do? I've talked about it during this time because I found it to be very useful for my clients and myself. I love to doodle. And I love this idea. Oh, I have it on blot. I love this idea that, so you can clear it. What you doodle and use can disappear. And so it sort of reminds you of the impermanence. So I'm going to just say the background of it. Maybe I should do that for, well, I have it here. I'll show it to you. So here's what we put, which is like with a Buddha board, this sort of Zen drawing experience, you dip your brush in water and then you draw something. And under brush style, I have blot, because you know how when you have a paintbrush, you can blot water and it can look like that. And then you can also just draw a line. And I have this on blue, and this is brush style. But what you can do is you can go to a color palette. And this was inspired by Laura in Colombia, because I showed her an early version, because black is sort of maybe the, I don't know, whoops, confirm color. You click on confirm color, make sure it shows black in the bar, and then it turns it to black. So if you're just drawing with water, it's going to look gray or black, right? But Laura thought, why don't you add a color palette so that you can draw with different colors? And I love how it layers like this. That's sort of just fun. Then the brush size, the slower you go, the thicker the line. And then if you're like working on drawing some sort of chaotic thing, which is how I felt about my computer not working this morning, it could be something like that. And then I am drawing very thin lines. Then the fade. So I have it on the slowest fade, which if any of you who have the Buddha board knows that it fades pretty slowly, actual water on a canvas. But if you wanted it to fade, quicker, you can adjust the speed here, and then it could fade. And then if you just want to start over, we have a clear function. And if, let's say you're working on a series of things, and I'm going to explain a case where I did this, then you can save it and then clear it and then work on the next thing. And you end up with a series, which I think can be very helpful. And Jacob Zodi and Mike Jones here, I would say, I want this, and I can say anything I want. I have no capability of making this actually work the way that it does. So I'm just very fortunate to have this. And even when something goes wrong with my computer, I'm reminded of that as I'm sharing this with you. So then I thought, well, aren't we working with a model that's multisensory? And so it would make sense then that we would have sounds that would be associated. So here's a stream that you can play. And then this next one is singing bowls, which my dog, then you can pause that. Then my dog always thinks someone's at the doorbell. So this is paired with a dog barking, forgive me. And so what you can do with these singing bowls, oh, she didn't hear it. That's good. I guess she's not in the room. You can also play it as a meditation, and you can set the timer for however long you want. So you can listen to singing bowls, for example. I happen to like these, and then have them do some sort of drawing experience as they're getting the auditory and the visual. And then I have wind chimes, and Violet had she called a secret garden. And there were many wind chimes out there. And one of the really lovely things was to sit out and talk to her and listen to her wind chimes. And so this certainly reminds me of that. Some kids or people are soothed by white noise. Others are completely, put off by it. We have it. And then, here we go. And then for people who do EMDR, we have a bilateral pulse. We have, let's see if I can turn it up. Oh, see, it goes to the thing. This is always a little tricky, Mikey. Okay, and then we have pulse with relaxing music. We have a metronome. We have binaural beats. So, oh, the dog just came in. All right. So what I'm going to do with all of us, so you get the idea, yeah? And you might be playing with it already. I find that I just doodle, if I'm on a call. I'm going to show you a few slides that I made, and thankfully, I didn't actually have total access to everything because of my computer, but I'm belaboring that point here. Okay, because it's done. I don't have it. Here it is. Okay, so here's the slides. And again, thanks to Mike for saving me. So here's the app, Paint, Listen, Relax, sort of the idea. And I want to know, one thing I didn't put in the poll is during this time, maybe people have had sources of stress relief. For me, Thich Nhat Hanh and his meditations and his philosophy of life, he actually died this year, the same year as Violet. I think that's significant to me because those were two sources for me. Anyway, thankfully, we have a lot of quotes of his. And this idea of impermanence is very, very, the just for now. I think that I don't always aspire. I mean, I don't always live by this so well, but I aspire to be comforted by this idea. And that's sort of the whole thing about this app, is that a moment of stress does not have to last, and you can experience it. So here's an example of how it can look. Thank you. So how it works: draw anything you want and watch it fade. If you want, you can keep drawing until you feel finished or complete. You can listen to sounds while you draw. Use this for any purpose, including EMDR. That's one thing I had in mind. And then why it works. I mean, this is a healing opportunity, I think, because it can be a form of art. Not worrying about making a mistake, not being attached to what you're making. That's sort of a lesson for us. It is an app on a computer. And I encourage the actual Buddha board, but of course it's been very fun for me to turn it into something that you can use on an iPad, iPhone, computer. And it's the process more than what you actually make, but we do have a save function if you want to focus on that. Certainly, I think it encourages creativity, and just what do you feel like doing in the moment? And this emphasis on here and now. I think it has a lot of applications to the Oaklander model. I have a lot of experts here who can confirm or deny my idea about this, but there's contact with the senses. We have the visual, certainly, the auditory. I tried to put in, there's emotions that can be accessed and expressed. You're projecting, you can do a whole projection onto the whatever you've made here, and you're meeting them where they are right now. What do you want to draw right now? And not in the future, this moment, because it's going to fade. And so here's some prompts. I'll be sharing this with you, this PowerPoint. So one is, how are you feeling right now? I think I'm going to have us do that. Close your eyes and make the design. Take deep breaths, so you're using the breath. Watch it fade. Think of something you want to let go of. I've done this with a lot of my training groups so that they could be present for the training. What is it that you had in your day that is on your mind that you want to just draw and put here and watch it fade? And then I did an article that's at oaklandertraining.org where I worked with someone about the election. She was having a lot of stress. This was an adult, and I had her use the Buddha board and the word cloud. So you use theoretically like the right side of the brain, the abstract, and then you use the left side with language. And I didn't have the sounds at that time, but wouldn't have that been interesting too? And then at the end, she really felt less stress. Use it to tell a story. So I was going to add these pictures of a case that I did this with, but it's on my dead computer. So we're giving it a rest here, but I'll just explain it briefly. And that is a girl who has, a young woman who has ADHD. And I had her use the Buddha board. This was before we had the app. So she actually, I had most of my clients buy one of these during this time, if they were open. And basically what she did is she drew this Ferris wheel. And what she did is she talked about all the things that she had to do in her life. And this idea of putting, she called them like buckets. So you know what a Ferris wheel is? Does that translate? It does? Okay, Daria from Russia is you're nodding your head. So if you've got it, I think then we're good. So basically, what you do is, what she said she did is she had all these to-do things and she labeled them, and then she knew it was going to fade. And so she imagined getting it done, and then it faded. And what she said she loved about it is that for her, and many of us might know this about ADHD, is that if you feel a sense of urgency, you actually, that's when they're motivated to do it right before it's due, right? And until that, their frontal lobe does not light up to get it done. So as she labeled like her schoolwork and cleaning up her room and doing something that her mom wanted her to do, and she only focused on one thing because she knew that was going to fade. So she focused on that. She labeled it, watched it fade, moved on to the next one. And she got through the whole revolution of the Ferris wheel. And she said, she said, I've never used the word metaphor with her, but she just got a big sign. She said, now I have a metaphor. She said, and now what she does is if she has something to do, I since shared her this app, and you can go up to 60 seconds of having it there. And what she does is she draws a visual representation of whatever task she has. And she writes down 2 or 3 things on an actual paper. She does her planning in that 60 seconds of whatever she's going to do. It's fun, engaging. She watches it fade. and then she moves on to the next thing that she has to do. So I thought that was great. And I had no idea, you know, Violet talks about plan the sessions without expectations. My plan was for her to use the app. What I didn't know is I thought we were talking about her anxiety. She went right into her ADHD. And so I sort of also talk about that case in that regard, which is you just don't know how it's going to turn out. Okay, so what I'm going to do is invite you all to do a quick experience with this because Lynn has to catch a plane. Where's your stop, your first stop, Lynn?
Berlin.
Berlin, okay. And do we have Angie here? We did earlier. Earlier, I saw you. Angie, you're here, right?
Yes, here.
Yeah. So this is what I love about these calls. Lynn's going and you're there. So how great. I don't know if it's not that it's my business who sees who in what country, but it just so happens that I love that just for now moment. Okay. So I should go quicker than that. I digress. So what I'm going to have us all do is go to the app. I'll share it if I can find it. And think about, for heaven's sake, see, this isn't my computer. So
I just put the link in the chat, Karen.
Thank you. Oh my God. See, how stressed can I really get when I get this much support? That is the question. A little stressed. Okay, here it is. Okay, thank you, Mikey. Okay, so what you'll do is go to the app and we're all going to do this together. Then you're going to share together in a breakout room and then we'll come back and we get to hear about games with Lynn, which I'm very excited about. So first, I'm going to play a sound. I'm going to play a sound. And I'll do the singing bowls. And I'm going to have everyone just take a breath. Listen to this sound. And think of something that is on your mind that you wouldn't mind releasing, even if it's just for now. So just get anything. It could be large or small. As these chimes, the singing bowl's playing, and go if you want to have a color or just black, whatever you want, and just draw whatever you feel like drawing. Just whatever you feel like drawing in response to that feeling of whatever you want to let go. And if you want to save your image to share in the breakout room, you can. Or if you have an idea of what this is, you can recreate it. I just am having us all do it together for right now. Okay. So this could be a long experience. I'm making it a short experience. And you have whatever you have. And Max, can you put people in breakout rooms of like 4